This video blog is in English and I'm breaking with tradition because today in Malta we have the EU summit, and it's, I guess, a little bit important that my opinion, whether it's important or not, gets across to as many people as possible. The EU summit has just basically backed the Malta plan with regards to the migration of peoples across the Mediterranean from Libya. The plan includes getting involved on the ground in the southern part of Libya and also in the north part of Libya to basically make the life of those involved in smuggling or those who take financial advantage of smuggling people, changing it around and making them more interested in other economic options. And also encouraging the Libyan state, if there is such a thing as a Libyan state, to block people from coming over the Mediterranean, eventually to Malta. In the last months, nobody came to Malta because the Italians were taking all the migrants, part of an agreement between Malta and Italy, and basically putting less pressure on Italy, on France, on Germany, on the rest of Europe. This is a year when most of Europe is facing the threat of right-wing parties, conservative parties, who are taking advantage of this anger towards refugees, towards people from Africa or the Middle East. And these EU leaders are very worried that they will lose their political base. It is a valid reason, and it's also a valid reason that most of the time these fears are inflated, exaggerated, and most of the time the far right doesn't only have an agenda against refugees or migrants, but has other agendas which have nothing to do with refugees, but also a lot with our way of seeing things in a modern society. Diversity, multiculturalism, and obviously other things which we don't have the time to talk about here. The issue at stake here is that the EU leaders are reacting to their electoral base, trying to ensure that they don't lose their hold over power, which is what every politician at the end of the day ends up doing. In this whole picture, they have forgotten, however, that the people who are trying to cross the Mediterranean are not originating from Libya. Most of them are coming from Sub-Sahara, coming from the Central Africa, where there are situations where it is impossible to have a living, to have a job. Most of the time there is civil war, there are things such as violence, human right issues. It is basically impossible to have a decent life. And in this grand plan, which basically all the EU leaders seem to have embraced, there is hardly the long-term vision to see what is the root problem. What is the root problem and where it is coming from? And in my view, this is simply a patchwork solution which will obviously be circumvented by all these people who, because they are so desperate to live a decent life, will find an alternative way to reach lands which they believe will offer them a better opportunity, as we have all done in the past, as we have seen from all those people who either cross the transatlantic to basically end up founding the United States of America, to all those who also set up other nations such as South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, etc., etc. That is what history has taught us. And it is unfortunately that behind all the smiles and the camera shots, few of these EU leaders have the goal to admit that history will prove them all wrong.